Hello class, this is Anthony Gallo and I will be presenting the Forta Furniture case study. In 2010, Forta Furniture was the leading furniture brand in Romania. However, since then, Forta Furniture has been facing some stiff competition from other competitors such as the likes of IKEA as well as other various furniture manufacturers. Forta knew that they would need to respond to this, so in the year 2013 they acquired a billet. The Forta Furniture case is a great representation of adapting to changing markets. It shows that companies cannot stand pat. Forta Furniture shows that they have to adapt to the changing of the market. When new companies enter the market with the new ideas and possible offerings, a change is going to be necessary. The case also mentions that there are many different ways to have global expansion. Firms can either compete as a private label or look to build a brand in these markets. In 2012, when Alfred stepped down, Vasil Maria succeeded him as Forta's CEO. At that point, Forta built and sold about 1.1 million units a year domestically, with an average product price of $91. What key factors does Forta need to evaluate as it considers expanding internationally? Standardization of products. When expanding internationally, you need to consider the quality of your products and services. When planning to expand internationally, you will need to provide the high quality of goods and services to your foreign clientele. Forta also needs to consider flexibility when considering to expand internationally. Flexibility is an extremely important part of business operations. When entering a foreign market, there are going to be challenges that might require change in order for business growth to occur. Flexibility also includes adapting to the local culture. Language and cultural differences also need to be considered when expanding internationally. In foreign markets, there are likely going to be different languages. While this is not always the case, it can happen and is something that needs to be considered. There are many cultures where very well thought out and impressive marketing strategies can fail due to the culture of that market. Company culture is also very important when determining whether to expand nationally. The key to maintaining a successful organization is to establish a company culture. By implementing a shared set of beliefs that are supported by a strategy and structure, there is a company culture that is being established. Especially when conducting business in foreign nations, Forta Furniture would want to have the best company culture established so it could be a successful organization in a foreign nation. Market considerations are also something that Forta Furniture would need to consider before expanding internationally. What this means is that Forta will need to consider whether the product that they are trying to sell has a demand in the foreign market. The two things that Forta will discover in regards to market considerations are the suitability of the product in the market and its demand, as well as the availability of cheaper products being sold locally. Lastly, we have collaborating with local firms. Should Forta Furniture expand internationally, they must have a willingness to collaborate with the local firms of that country. Collaboration date must be readily acceptable. Collaboration will provide local expertise, which is exactly what Forta Furniture will be looking to do. And that will bring us to the second question. What are the benefits of expanding internationally? New revenue potential is definitely a benefit. If Forta were to take their business global, they would get access to a much larger base of customers. If Forta's products turn out to be a success, they will be able to enjoy increased revenues from these new customers. The potential for increased revenue is limitless. Forta has the chance to reach the largest market in Europe. Customers might also be willing to pay for products more. Revenue has the chance to skyrocket. Forta will also have a greater access to talent by expanding internationally. There is going to be a new group of potential employees, each with their own set of unique skills. These employees might possess skills that are very rare to find back in the home country. This is a huge positive for Forta because they will have an edge in that area over its competitors that have not gone global. Next, we have learning a new culture. Forta will be gathering all sorts of new information about different cultures. Getting information about a new place can help make Forta more well-rounded. Having an understanding of people who are not from your country will give you a new perspective on relations with customers. It may even help you work better with domestic customers and business partners. This will also help increase revenue as well. The benefits of learning a new culture are limitless. We also have exposure to foreign investment opportunities. Foreign investment is very valuable. If Forta Furniture was to enter a new market, it would not only be giving up more competition to IKEA as well as other competitors, but Forta has a chance to expand even further. Once exposed to a new market, and should it be successful, Forta is likely to continue expanding into other foreign markets. This exposure to foreign investment opportunities is very important to companies that are looking to expand internationally, just like Forta. Lastly, we have the company's reputation. Should Forta expand internationally, they will be able to market their product to a new population of people. This will give Forta the chance to now call themselves an international company, which they are. This will help brand exposure and also increase revenue. The next question is, what are the reasons for and against waiting to launch in Western Europe? Petrescu was weighing the pros and cons of launching in Western Europe. Petrescu was a believer that expansion into Western Europe would do wonders for Forta. Petrescu continued to think about launching into Western Europe and decided it might have been too big of a challenge for Forta to engage in. Petrescu thought that it would be too costly for Forta. Customers also might not be willing to pay enough to make entering the market even worthwhile. If Forta were to enter the Western Europe market and there was no demand for their products, then the entire operation would be a failure. There are some positives, however, and the large markets that are in Western Europe may be very appealing to Forta. If Forta did launch in Western Europe and had success, then there would be a big increase in revenue. Moving into Western Europe also means that their customers have more money. Forta would be reaching a market full of wealthier people than they are used to conducting business with. If there is a willingness to buy Forta's products, then there may be no better place for Forta to launch in. Since the customers have more money, launching into Western Europe would be great for Forta. That brings us to the final question, which is, what should Marita Petrescu do? Marita Petrescu needs to figure out where exactly Forta should expand to. Poland and Bulgaria are the options, and Petrescu needs to analyze data closely when making this decision. Poland and Bulgaria are the two countries that buy Forta's products the most outside of their home country, Romania. Petrescu ultimately decided that Forta and the newly acquired Abilit would be able to succeed outside of Romania. Petrescu also knew that the different brands are dedicated for different markets. Forta works better in Bulgaria, while Abilit works better in Poland. Petrescu also realized that they needed to use different label entries in each market to maximize their success. What this meant was that Forta was going to launch in Bulgaria using a branded entry label, and Abilit was going to launch in Poland using a private label entry. Abilit would expand first because it makes sense in every business aspect. Abilit would flourish in Poland, and it turns out that Poland is also tariff-free. Then we have Forta. The brand makes classic furniture and dedicates to an older market. Forta is going to have its loyal customers, of course, but they are going to get older and have less of a market. Abilit, on the other hand, is going to continue producing to their younger market hip products, which will have a greater market demand. Because of this, I believe that it would be best for the overall success of the business if Forta decided to move Abilit into Poland and not move Forta into Bulgaria. Moving into Bulgaria would just have too many obstacles to have to overcome, and while Poland is basically a low-risk, high-reward situation, which I truly believe the Abilit brand would thrive in. Abilit should use the private label brand in Poland because it would have less expenses.